Okay, I'm going to tell a story about honesty and humility and patience and kindness. And it has to do with this, like, I don't remember if it was actually on the same day, but it happened around a similar time frame. And since this was in like '88, give me a break for not remembering, right? Um, this is when I was at Roosevelt University, and going from the winter to the spring session, there was a possibility that I might not have the funding that I wanted. So I had gone to some office during registration. That's like supposed to help you to apply for these types of assistance, to pay for your college and stuff. And I remember when I walked in the room, I think I was there at 9 o'clock, and I got an understanding that there had been people waiting there since 7:30. And so, by their standard, I was late, and there were a lot of people with, really irritated expressions when they saw me bopping in because they were like, what are you doing here? You're late, whatever. That's, whatever. So I remember, I wrote my name down, and everyone was just waiting there, and it was, uncomfortably quiet, and it was very hot, and because there were too many people in the room, and they were all just like huffy and irritated, and worried about their college careers and nervous, I guess, or whatever. And I think I waited a good 2.5 hours, and I just sat there and hung out, whatever. And when it was that I was picked to go back, um, it happened kind of in a strange way. The gentleman who had been, counseling one lady came out, and he looked at the list, and then he was kind of trying to see in order who came, and I happened to stand up, and I just smiled at him, and he looked at me like this, and he goes, "Have you been helped yet?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, come on back." And I, I had heard, you know, the counselors that were helping all these students, they would kind of walk down the hall, and the student would be saying, stressing out, just saying all these things that they were concerned about, and even before they got to the room, because they just have all these, concerns on their mind. And I remember I just went into his office, and I sat down, and I said, and he said, "So what can I help you with?" And I said, "Oh, well, I came here to see about, applying for some grants or something, blah, blah, blah." And he looked at me like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, that's what you help with, right?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah. Let me get the packet." So he starts telling me how to do all this stuff, blah, 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 and I'd say we were probably done in about half an hour. And we just were like talking and laughing the whole time, and I was like, it was an enjoyable conversation, even though I was still getting a lot of information that I needed, right? But it was just nice to chat with him, whatever. And towards the end, um, he said something about, when you walk out, remember there's a lot of other people left, who still need to do theirs. Just talking about how there are a lot of people who apply for these, and, even if you apply, you may not get it. So try to think of something else that you may want to consider trying not to make it alone, because everybody else out here is trying to do the same thing that you are. It was kind of what he was saying to me. And I paused on that for a moment. I said, "Yeah, I know what you mean. I kind of had a question for you about that." And he goes, "Yeah, what is that?" I said, "Well, there were like people before me who had gotten there like very early, um, and I guess they had their names on the list, and maybe they could have gone to other people, but why did you pick me? Why did you take me back? Because I thought there were people ahead of me, and I didn't want to, butt ahead of that." And he said, "Huh, yeah, um, I guess everybody just had like this scowl on their face, and you just stood up and you smiled." And I thought, I'd rather have that gal in the office. I was like, oh wow, thank you. And so I felt like at one moment, like I sort of didn't exactly feel as bad as I did about the other gals, because I knew that they were going to get to see other counselors anyways. But I was like, oh my gosh, kindness and stuff is being rewarded. What a nice thing. Um, yeah. And my patience too, I guess, was rewarded because I didn't act irritated, because that's what he said everybody was doing. And then he explained it to me. Whenever I would call people, they would go, like stand up and be all indignant and stuff. And I stood up and I was like, hi, I didn't even know I was doing that, I just thought, why shouldn't I be smiling at someone who's about to help me? I don't know. So somewhere around this time, I had needed to prepare a tax return. And it was kind of a strange one to do because I was doing contract work. And also because I don't remember. Okay, I was in the state of Illinois, obviously, because when I was about university, but I think I still had Illinois state residency, and it was some fudgy thing that I had to do with it. I don't know. I had to go to this certain office, and it was so far away from where I thought it was going to be that I got there within minutes of it closing. And I was looking, and it's one of those old buildings that has like the marble as the portion on the bottom, like molding, and those old-fashioned tiles and like the real dark woods. Like I love the inside of old Chicago buildings. If you know, you know. But anyways, they're old city buildings, and it's like that in New York too. But anyways, and so I'm peering over the top of a window where there's like a man behind it, and he's I can barely peer over it, right, because I'm like so short. All I can see are my eyes, which at that time I didn't wear glasses because I wasn't blind. So I said, hi, I'm sorry to be so late, because he's kind of looking at his watch when I showed up, and I said, I need to get a particular return. And he said, oh, okay, well, what's the number? And I told him what it was, and he looks at me. And I could tell from his look that it was going to take him some minutes to dig it out of the file. And he was just a wee bit irritated, right? And he stood there and he kept looking at me, and I kept looking at him, and I just kept looking at him. Hi, blah, blah, blah. And I said, is it okay, or should I just come back another day? I'm sorry if I'm too late. And he goes, you? With your green eyes? Yeah, I'll get it for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And he leaned in closer and he said, I looked for a long time to make sure that those weren't those contact things. I was like, uh-huh. And he goes, I hate when people wear those. Whatever eye color you have, it's just beautiful the way it is. Why go and change it? Because then when someone with real green eyes comes along, you don't even think they look real anymore because you're used to the fake ones. And then he's like walking back and looking for the files. And this is like this really old guy. I don't know. So I felt that like it came along at a time when I had actually, and I had never worn contacts before. Like I said, I wasn't wearing glasses then. But everyone was wearing those contacts that sort of changed your eye color. And I went to an eyeglasses place or a contact place that exact week just to see, what would it look like if I had blue eyes? What would it look like? Just out of curiosity, just vague curiosity. I remember when I looked at myself with those colored eyes, like I tried brown and I tried blue and I tried gray and all these weird things. And I thought each time, oh, I look so strange and odd. I don't, look like myself. Or then I did try like green ones and hazel ones or something, and they didn't look like me. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm not gonna do it. Because like I had friends who were like, oh, you gotta get this color, blah, blah, blah. And it confirmed for me. I was like so happy that I had never gotten the contacts, because otherwise maybe I would have got my tax return. I don't know. And by the way, he wasn't saying that, green eyes were better or anything like that, and brown or whatever. I think he was just saying that, being honest about who you are makes you more beautiful. And who doesn't like to hear that, that you don't have to do anything to be beautiful, just be you, Corny message, I know, but that's what it was. So, I wish everybody got blessings of food.